While IVE is currently the most talked about and most successful rookie girl group achievement-wise, some believe they are also the most hated act until now, for numerous reasons. So what is the problem with this newly debuted girl group? Why were they loved at the beginning but so hated now? We'll try to gather all the reasons in this video for you guys. The more you watch, the more serious they will get. So with no further ado, let's dive into the first reason. The first and probably the most common cause for IVE being a controversial girl group comes down to their debut date, which is said to be way too close to the disbandment of IZ*ONE. Of course, everyone knew that the girls had zero control over this, and the whole thing was in the hands of Starship Entertainment, but still, the idols will always be the first to get called out when something happens. So because IZ*ONE has just disbanded in April 2021, and according to Forbes, since this event marked a great loss in K-pop, many find IVE's debut was simply too rushed, just roughly 7 months after IZ*ONE disbanded, thus not leaving enough time to respect the disbandment of a talented group, where Wonyoung and U raised their popularity. More seriously, some even think IVE is trying to take advantage of the legacy echoed from the massive success of IZ*ONE. Then comes the second reason, which is quite a cliche and double standard, but still frequently discussed to this point. That IVE shouldn't have been allowed to pursue the girl crush concept since the youngest member is only 14 years old. Liso, the magnate of IVE, was born in 2007. She was said to have debuted at the youngest age possible the K-pop industry set out for them. Though it's true that debuting at a young age will help lengthen an idol's seniority, it is also the cause of many controversies, where topics like child labor, cyberbullying, and sexualization of girls enters the chat. According to some, IVE should have gone for something bubblier like Twice or GFriend, instead of acting sexy and bringing the vibe of I don't care about what others say. Especially for the sexy part, though it looks like all the girls have hit puberty and have the figure of a grown-up lady, they're actually juvenile and still way too young to fit into the sexy definition, which lies in the types of outfits, some certain expressions, and gestures often seen in this concept. Needless to wait for further promotions to tell whether the distaste towards IVE's concept was exaggerated or not, the latest wardrobe controversy of Wonyoung and U has already reflected that netizens' discontent was totally justified. While U was said to literally wear a bra on stage, Wonyoung drew lots of negative reactions for putting on such tiny outfits that, while performing certain moves, her chest and bottoms were almost exposed in front of everyone's eyes. The distaste towards the girl crush concept of IVE was so big that when Starship Entertainment first released the photo teasers, netizens immediately begged the company to not let IVE's image revolve around this theme. Also at this point, some brought up other reasons accounting for why they wouldn't want to see IVE become another girl crush-based group. Besides the age limit reason, they believe this concept has been oversaturated by lots of Gen 4 acts, from ITZY, aespa, STAYC, to the soon-to-debut JYPN. Looks like the audiences are getting bored, so they wish for the cute and bubbly concept to be brought back by new girls. Then comes the third reason, which is exploding all over the internet lately. It's about how Wonyoung is believed to be clearly biased by Starship Entertainment, turning IVE into a group of Wonyoung and friends, or Wonyoung and her backup dancers. Right at the debut showcase of IVE, netizens already spotted the flagrant bias of the company towards Wonyoung. Because while all the other members were dressed mainly in black, highlighted by the Versace-esque pattern, Wonyoung was suddenly given a vibrant hot pink dress that helped her stand out right off the bat. Of course, there were opinions defending the group, saying that since this was their very first public appearance, it would be too soon to conclude anything. However, as IVE attended more events, the privilege toward Wonyoung became so obvious that no one can ignore it anymore. Netizens believe that Starship is specifically pushing the former IZ*ONE center and using the other members as fill characters. Though IVE's fans have already tried to turn a blind eye on the hot pink dress and patiently waited for an explanation, what they got is, you guessed it, another questionable set of outfits, in which the company made the rest of the group dress in white except for Wonyoung, who clearly captured all the attention as the only member to wear black. Though some said this difference in outfits was probably because Wonyoung had to do the MC right after that, and the black dress was the dress code of the MC line that night, others found this reasoning too forced because, even compared to the other MCs, her outfit still unnecessarily stood out, and by no means would the organization board insist on her dressing like that. Another reason making such MC-related defense invalid came down to the fact that not only the red carpet outfits of Wonyoung, but even her stage outfits on several award shows were also made to be way more sophisticated and different compared to other members. Like this time. While the rest of the group were dressed in shorts and their tops were in the slim fit form, Starship once again made Wonyoung the protagonist, when having her wearing a crinoline asymmetric skirt mixed with a crop top perfectly showing off her slender figure. Then another time, Wonyoung was again obviously pushed to stand out, because while all the other members and the backup dancers were dressed in black, only she got to be dressed in white. Well, it looks like the similar fuss about Blackpink's Jennie being biased by the Cordy in the past was nothing compared to this. This is like a slap to the face of group stans and other members as fans. Besides the outfits, netizens also found it annoying to see that even the makeup of Wonyoung was done more carefully than the rest. On the weekly music stages, it's also not hard to see that she was always specifically picked out to have a change in hairstyle on every stage. Which leads to another reason people hate this group that you will soon know about when I talk about it later on. Besides the alleged privilege Wonyoung has received appearance-wise, people also find IVE a thorn in the eye, as the individual schedule of Wonyoung blatantly overwhelmed others'. Netizens think that while she'd already had several years to build her reputation under IZ*ONE, this privilege should be saved for other members. So, from being the MC of Music Bank, AAA 2021, to the very first appearance on Radio Star, it has always been Wonyoung and Wonyoung all along. Actually, Liz and Yuteen were also there with her on Radio Star, but as some found out, Starship initially just put Wonyoung's name on this schedule. Of course, this was by no means the girls' fault, but this is still something the group had to suffer as a whole. Sadly, the fourth reason owing to the increasing hate towards IVE also doesn't come from the group themselves, but their company again. While people thought that the All For You stage, featuring all famous artists of Gen 3 and 4, would be one of the best highlights warming everyone's heart after a long year, it suddenly took a turn for the worse. As, according to some netizens, it was disrespectful to most idols there because IVE, the youngest rookie on the stage, was somehow arranged to stand at the center, right next to Red Velvet and in front of other big acts like ITZY and 17. Most opinions believe that IVE apparently didn't deserve this spot, and being the daughter of Starship, they're probably just an opportunistic group that only cares about quick fame rather than other proper ways to earn it. However, there were also opposite opinions saying that it's absurd to just blame IVE for everything, because at the end of the day, they were only teenage girls following the orders of their agency. Moreover, as all rookies need recognition from the public, it was actually not a big deal that they were arranged at the center to increase exposure, because other idols have already built a stable fanbase but IVE hasn't. Still, the hate toward IVE reached its peak because of the fifth, and probably the biggest reason of all. There is something off about the girls' attitude. Specifically, netizens believe IVE have had some inappropriate attitude toward their seniors on the December 18th Music Core stage. Normally in music shows, most groups would spend the first few seconds to greet and bow to their seniors, sometimes even their peers, before doing the encore stage. However, IVE was seen straight up ignoring seniors Jaemin, Lino, and even Minju. The footage of Wonyoung ignoring her former member in IZ*ONE is said to be the most annoying thing ever. According to some, Wonyoung only greeted Minju when the former IZ*ONE's visual tapped her on the shoulder. Things started to blow up super big when there was a video on YouTube showing detailedly how the IVE members interrupted the MCs multiple times, making them awkwardly smile the situation away. Even on KBizoom, there was even a line referring to the contentious nature of the group, as there are a lot of groups that become famous right after their debut, but rookies that are both as famous and scandalous as IVE are certainly rare. The sixth, and also the last reason making IVE lose points in the public eyes, came down to Wonyoung herself, who has constantly been criticized for having put on a diva attitude, despite being among the youngest idols of K-pop. A while ago, when NCT 127 was on the show to promote their latest comeback, Wonyoung was seen deliberately ignoring it when the members bowed to her, despite them being her seniors. The fact that her MC colleague was there bowing non-stop has made a clear contrast to her questionable action. Then, when Twice was there for an interview and Jungyeon had to sit on her side due to her health condition, some pointed out that Wonyoung didn't even hesitate to glance annoyedly at the Twice member right in front of the camera. Though it could be that Wonyoung was just looking at Jungyeon to wait for her answer, and Mina was also seen glancing at Jungyeon, as some fans defended her, most people found this reasoning absurd because while Mina's gaze was warm and went with a smile, that of Wonyoung brought a judging vibe. While it's hard to say what that look really means, many netizens have already thrown hands at this girl in the whole IVE group, because for a girl group who has just debuted for less than a month, this many controversies are just too much to handle. So what do you think? Are netizens being too nitpicky on IVE, or is it true that there is something wrong about these girls? What should be done now to stop the hate towards this girl group? Comment down below to share your thoughts with us. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe to BeBoss TV for more interesting K-pop content. Thank you for watching.